our test show that we're working on, and we thought we would ask Kara to stay because we had so many other questions to ask. But as we were sitting here, I saw George Floyd's face on Greg Kelly's show. And if you want to leave to listen to Greg Kelly, I perfectly understand.
No way. Are you kidding me?
I perfectly understand why he's one of my favorites.
He's one of mine too. I love you so much.
But the reality is that's another one that's going to blow up. There's a big expose on the
There
Floyd.
is. I was actually thinking of watching that tonight.
There was. It comes on again. It comes on again later. You can watch. You can't. Well, you can probably watch me later too. But you can watch him later, so you can watch us. We're only going to be on for 15 minutes. But there's a book now written. We got to get it on the Floyd case, and from the very, very beginning, Dr. Maria, who my reaction to it was very emotional. I thought the cop was awful in what he did. But Maria was saying to me, no, this guy does not have his knee right next. He's got his knee where you hold him back, not where you choke him. And I think you're wrong. She thought I was, wrong about it's being. It wasn't really a chokehold; it was a choke knee. Right? Now it turns out that the original coroner, and they hid that, came to the conclusion that he didn't die as a result of that. He did not die as a result of the knee.
I know. I've heard about that, and I'm very.
And then they went and got they went and got the biggest whore coroner of all, Dr. Ballin. Dr. Ballin. I mean, they hire him for everything, and depends on how much you pay him. He concluded that it was a homicide. There was one problem though. He never examined the body. He never did an examination. He looked at a bunch of records and he said, "Yeah, the family's right. Give me my 50 grand."
Right. Well, more than that, I would say they raised a lot of money.
My 100 grand. What else should I say? Oh yeah. The cop. He used excessive force. How do you know? Did you examine the body? No, but I have ways of knowing.
Well, I know Candace Owens did a really good documentary, and I've wanted to watch that one as well, having to do with George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. So I would recommend people to look at that one because I've heard really good things about it.
But the part about George Floyd, before we even get into it, because I haven't seen it, that gets me is the statues to him. Because, yes, let's assume for a minute he was unjustly murdered. Okay. You don't get a statue because you're unjustly murdered. I mean, there'd be 10 million statues. You get it for leading an exemplary life. And the guy was a bum. He's a complete, absolute bum. Didn't he try to shoot a baby or some woman that was pregnant?
I believe
he was in trouble.
That was the allegation. The allegation was that he held a knife or a gun to a pregnant woman. I think it might have been his girlfriend, but I'm not certain. Stomach.
Right.
I don't think he was a model citizen there.
Model citizen. Yeah. Also, the original autopsy, which is out now, said he had a lethal amount of fentanyl in his system, and if nothing else killed him, that killed him. He had a lethal amount of fentanyl in his system.
Definitely. I mean, if he had a lethal amount, it had something to do with
it. Well, then you're not going to survive fentanyl. I'm sorry. No matter what the guy does to you, fentanyl is going to kill you. Fentanyl is more powerful than the guy's knee.
The guy in New York that the cops subdued and then wound up dying inadvertently, he was also on the verge of OD'd or something like that. Wasn't that the case with that?
Yes.
And the cops got a bad rap, of course. So that's like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cops have to watch out who they subdue. The guy's already half dead already.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, and look what happened as a result of it. A whole country explodes. Yeah, we have, right now, the retail crime because of that. When you see the people go into the stores, right, 20, 30 gang members go into the store, pull everything out, and everybody's afraid to do anything about it. That's a direct result of they are mimicking 2020. They're mimicking what they saw on television for two or three straight months.
Right.
And I knew it would happen because the cops are standing there like they're police reporters, not cops. They're standing there watching the theft. I was thinking to myself, if that was my police force, they'd all get fired. Yeah. What the hell do you think you are, reporters?
You're enabling it.
You are there to stop them from doing it. And what's this? You don't use fatal or lethal force to stop it? Of course you do.
Yeah.
Somebody comes and steals from you, and you can shoot them.
Right. At least in
Shoot a couple of them, and it stops. Boom, boom, right away.
Or even just
couple
put some
go
people
down, all
in
of a
jail. How
sudden.
about that? Just put people in jail and actually have sentences
Oh,
stick.
in jail? You
I
can't.
mean, that would be great.
Well, if you do,
Spend even a year in jail, maybe.
Or more.
You know what I mean?
no,
It's
no,
like
but
nobody spends any time in jail.
They're not Trump people. They don't go to jail. Remember, you want a conspiracy? Those all took place in places where there was a bought and purchased prosecutor. There was a crooked prosecutor in every one of those places put there in advance by George Soros.
Right.
They didn't do riots where there were real prosecutors. They did riots where George Soros spent anywhere from $2 to $5 million in a city he knew nothing about or cared about to put in a crooked prosecutor that already had murder rates up beyond, like Philadelphia under Soros's prosecutor has had more murders than ever before in the history of Philadelphia. How about little Rochester, New York has had more murders than ever before in its history under a Soros prosecutor. San Francisco has disappeared. San Francisco, after the great greeting for Xi Jinping, has actually become a Chinese city now. It no longer belongs to us.
Wow.
It's a Chinese ceremonial city where when the head of Red China, who has killed more Chinese people than any living person, comes there, they have a celebration for him, like the Triumphal March in Aida. I mean, he came into the city and all these Chinese people with big smiles on their face are waving red Chinese flags. And somebody forgot to tell him, the guy you're waving for killed more of your people than any living human being. This is like cheering for Hitler when he entered Paris. This guy probably killed pretty close to what Hitler killed. Probably a little less, but he got time to go. And so 80 million Chinese have been killed by the CCP. Big number under Mao. This guy's got about 10 million on his record. He probably will end with about 20.
I'm half Chinese and I'm afraid to go to China.
Well, you should be.
I am. I really wanted to visit because obviously it's like a homeland for me. My family's from there. But because I've spoken out against the CCP on so many occasions, I feel like my name would be on the list.
100% should be afraid of it.
Almost
Yeah.
definitely.
My family wanted to plan a trip and I'm like, no, let's go to another country. Not China.
What about their police forces that they have here, that they go after Chinese people here? And that our genius mayor didn't even know about.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Too busy partying.
what?
Too busy partying. Eric Adams.
Shopping for shoes. You know.
He's at the club. He's at the club.
He's in
Thursday through Sunday.
You can't add anything more to his burdens. That guy is
He pissed somebody. So sorry to curse. He ticked somebody off. Please bleep that. I normally don't say that, but he did
we're not
because the
FCC.
FBI came
We're not
after
regulated
him.
by FCC.
So what did he do?
No, he's not in the golden circle.
Right. He did something.
No,
like
he's not.
Cuomo
He
did
is
something.
definitely.
He did something.
It's very clear. He is. People should know that our mayor is not in the golden circle. Now, what is the golden circle? The golden circle is occupied by people who can do anything they want and not get prosecuted. The only question is, can they do murder? And I am told by experts who know more about it than I do, particularly with regard to the Clintons, that the golden circle includes murder. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with that. I'm just telling you about the golden circle. The golden circle, you can destroy 33,000 emails. Doesn't matter. You can shake down Haiti and make them starve and take all their money. You can use your private charity to pay for your daughter's wedding. You can take money from the Red Chinese, unlimited amounts. You can take money from the crookedest man in Ukraine.
You can challenge elections.
You can take money from the mayor. You can take money from the mayor of Moscow's wife, who is Putin's best friend, and then you can make sure she never gets sanctioned, even though she's like way on the top of the list for sanctions. But you get 3.2 million. What else? Who else is in the golden circle? Well, Hunter is the golden circle. Hunter has committed every crime known to man, and he's never prosecuted.
He's like the bullseye in the golden circle.
You can definitely do child pornography and be in the golden circle. You can even be rather repetitious in doing it. But if now you go out of the golden circle, if you criticize Biden, Menendez was in the golden circle for 3-4 years. Man, they had that case 3 years ago. All of a sudden, he complains about Iran and he complains about the border. Bye-bye.
He's in the news.
Bye-bye, Menendez.
Well, I think
to
Eric
prison.
Adams, when he started saying, we can't have any more migrants, we can't have any more migrants, he started
Well,
speaking out.
Do you know what had happened? Here's what he did. He was going out of the golden circle. What got him pushed out was when he set up a meeting and he got 3 other mayors to come with him. So they're saying to themselves, because Biden isn't, because
Right.
Biden is just eating ice cream.
Yeah, this isn't
So
Biden. When we
the
say
people,
Biden,
the
we
people
mean
who
Biden's
think
handlers.
for Biden are saying,
Obama.
hey, this is a little much. We can deal with this jerk in New York. But now he's got the mayor of Chicago. He's got the mayor of
Denver,
of
or LA,
Denver,
or one
of
those, Houston,
Denver,
maybe?
and Denver, and he got 4 other mayors coming, all black. My God, if they all come out against us,
Yeah, too much
And
influence.
he posted a video.
what do we got on them? What do we got on
Might be
them?
hard to drown that out in the news
We've got
cycle.
campaign finance violations,
Turns out
ghost-
Turkey.
ghost-
All places.
ghost contributions, which every campaign has. Every campaign, including mine, Hillary's, every campaign has ghost contributions. Now, the question is, do you know about them or not? By and large, candidates don't. And you get victimized by it. But I mean, this is like the cheapest charge you could possibly think of. I've never heard of a search warrant done on ghost contributions. You serve a subpoena. How about they come up to him as he's walking out of a restaurant, the mayor of New York, they throw him in an FBI car and search him. I mean, this is like sending the guy a message.
I think it's sending a lot of people a message. A lot of what
There was no
happened with-
reason for any of it.
Well, what happened with Cuomo and what happened to him? I think they're sending to their Democrat minions, like, okay, this is what's going to happen if you actually speak out. This is what'll happen if you actually do the right thing. We will get you on something like campaign finance or like jaywalking.
He was literally he just did a video bragging to all those people on social media. I'm about to walk into that White House, right? He flew to DC.
Yeah, okay,
He
that's
was
what
about
he
to
thought.
walk into that White House and tell Joe Biden what's up on behalf of the good people of New York. Minutes later,
You
sorry,
know,
I gotta get back. I gotta get
he
back
did
to
make a
New York.
tactical mistake, and I will grant that you can make mistakes at times like that, and they don't always mean something. But coming back to New York was a tactical mistake. I mean, I'm thinking several elections I've had investigations for these ghost contribution. Ghost contribution is people will pay other people to make the contribution for them. Usually it happens when somebody is too lazy to raise the amount of money. They say they're going to raise, they're big shots, and they say, I'm going to raise 100,000 for you. And then they try to raise 100,000 and they can't, but they're very rich. So they give 5,000 to their son, 5,000 to a worker, 5,000, and they let them make the contribution. That's completely illegal. Completely
Believe it
illegal.
or not, you're right. It does happen a lot.
Happens a lot.
Even on small dollar
People-
donations.
With all the publicity about it, there are still people that don't know it's illegal. I've had to tell people in every campaign I've ever been involved in, mine or others, you can't do that. You can't do that. Why not? It's my money. I can give it to anybody I want. Yeah, but you got to put the right name down. It's a felony. Oh, no, it can't be a felony. They'll even fight with you. So what I'm trying to say is I think it's wrong. You shouldn't do it. But it's hardly the crime of the century where you break into somebody's house or you take a mayor off the street.
Whoever thought you would get Mayor Adams back? Well, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sure? You're putting up a
Maybe they just like to search mayors. They search me right here in this apartment.
They
they
did. But
did.
They took every electronic device except for one.
Two.
My
2 hard drives.
Two.
I
Hunter
offered
Biden.
both to them. I offered both hard drives to them. I said, you could have the one with the child pornography or without it. And they said, oh, no, we're not interested in that. We're not interested in Hunter Biden's hard drive. We're not interested in that.
It's a good thing you didn't give it to them.
Yes,
They
yes.
might have destroyed it.
See this?
Right.
Put that side. Don't give that side.
140 crimes. This only accounts for about 40 million of what the Bidens took. Probably goes over 100.
FBI didn't want
Oh,
it.
you know who has the rest of it that I don't have?
Zelensky.
Let me guess.
Zelensky. Okay.
Zelensky, you got the whole thing. I don't have the.
Ukraine of all places.
I
Imagine
just
that.
got one computer. This is one computer. It's a hard drive off one computer. It was his main computer, but I know that there are other crimes because some don't follow through. Like you'll see the beginning of a crime here. You'll see he's working with the Chinese to set up a deal. And then maybe you see a check at the end, but you don't get to see the deal in the middle.
This is genius at work.
Saint Zelensky's got the whole thing,
Paper trail, the whole computer trail.
which is why you think Joe can say no to money for him.
Yeah. That's why Zelensky can show up in a sweatshirt, right? Doesn't even bother to put a tie on.
You think when Zelensky
after
says,
$1 billion.
hey, Joe, another $60 billion?
Okay.
They got him by the what.
If Joe says something like, I think I'd like to do a little audit to see how much of that actually got to the field. Zelensky's going to say, go stuck it up here. How would you like to see the other pictures if they haven't seen yet? You think Giuliani's got good pictures. When do you see mine? It's horrible. We got a president that's completely compromised. He's got Z on the one hand, right? Who paid him more than 31 million. 31 million we got to him there on record. A lot more. Got 31 million from that guy. The other guy has him getting about 12 million, but then he's got the complete record. He's got the complete file. And I saw the file before it was complete when they were cooperating for a little bit. Plus, he's covering it all up. He's covering up. Now, I'm going to give you another one that nobody ever asks about. You don't think that case that Biden got fixed and got paid $10 million, 5 for him, 5 for Hunter. You don't think, you can't imagine, right, that the president of Ukraine didn't get a bribe. I mean, he's the guy who fixed it. I mean, the prosecutor had to dismiss it, but it came on the order of the president. You think that guy did that for nothing? That guy wouldn't do anything for nothing.
Right.
He was the biggest crook in the Ukraine. That's how he got defeated 70-30. They used to say that Poroshenko would take anything that moved in Ukraine. If it moved and had value, he'd take it. He also expected to get a piece of every deal. He was like the guy in The Godfather who always wanted to wet his beak. So, and he hated Zlochevsky, which is why Zlochevsky went to Biden. Because if he were left to the tender mercies of the president, Poroshenko would have taken the whole business from him. He would have taken his $40 billion oil and gas business right from him. He probably took it for himself. Just take it. That's how Zlochevsky got it. He took it from other people. He became minister of the ecology. He had a tiny little business. By the time he left government, he had a gigantic business because he took all the oil and gas leases away from other companies and gave it to his partner who moved the company to Cyprus. He then left government right before it fell. Here's another very interesting, let's see if you believe in coincidences. 4 weeks after he was out and running his company again, his partner who owned 51% of Burisma, he only owned 49%, very tragically drove his car into a tree.
Wow.
And died, making Zlochevsky the 100% owner. And the guy must have been just a bad driver. I mean, it just happened that way. Just Zlochevsky was so lucky he got the whole business. The guy he was drunk though. But I mean, everybody in Ukraine is drunk. But I mean, he was drunk and he drove into a tree. Now, 2 other times he had been to dinner with Zlochevsky and his friends, and he had driven home like that, but he missed the tree. The third time, he hit the tree. He hit the tree. I mean, this is the guy that Biden puts his son in business with. The guy is an organized criminal. He's a massive thief. He's a pro-Russian Ukrainian. For all this crap about how he's anti-Putin, I don't know, Trump didn't get any money from Putin. They got $3.5 million. And he's doing business with the Putin guy. They don't care if it's Putin or if it's Erdogan or any one of those thieves they'll take money from. I mean, the Bidens will take money from anybody. They've been doing it for 30 years.
And this is why it's so important for him to stay in power, because if Trump gets in, obviously now, well, this will be investigated. So he has everything to lose. And that's why they're going to the extent they're going to with your indictment,
Try
with
to get rid of
Trump's
him.
indictment.
Yeah.
They have to get rid of him at all costs because this will all come out.
Yeah, they're hoping they get a Democrat or a weak Republican, because I don't think
the
any
other
of the other Republicans they would
They won't. They would do nothing. They would
they would do
nothing.
the let's forget about it.
Let's move
You know,
on.
Let's move
Unite the
on.
country.
Let's
Some-
move on.
They'd
Right.
also do let's forget about it, because they'll do the same thing to me. Why do you think Pompeo never straightened out the CIA? Because he was afraid that the CIA would do to him what they did to Trump. Why do you think Pompeo never investigated Biden when I gave him the information? Because he didn't. Pompeo may have gone to West Point, and he may have been in the military, but he didn't have any guts.
Right.
He's afraid of what'll happen to him. And you know what he told me about removing the ambassador, who was completely crooked? I mean, she basically ran the Hillary Clinton for president campaign in Ukraine as an American ambassador. He told me I couldn't remove her because she's the head of the lesbian ambassadors club. I said, what the hell does that matter? I thought we didn't do that. I thought you could be the head of the MAGA club. And if you take bribes or you cut off visas in order to obstruct investigations, we get you, we prosecute you. Oh, no, but they're very powerful. Soros installed them. They're very powerful. That's the deep state. When people talk about the deep state, they don't know how to define it. That's what the deep state is. And it affects a lot of Republicans. Look at Barr.
Well, they're terrified. They're afraid.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
afraid.
You'd think a guy
That's all
that
there
big
is
wouldn't
to
be
it.
so afraid, you know?
You would think.
He could be in solitary for a year and it wouldn't matter.
They say the bigger they are, the harder they fall sometimes, you know.
But she was,
Yeah.
does anyone know she was a champion boxer?
I was.
Champion.
You notice how nice I am with it to her? I'm so careful. I never disagree with her. Well, we want you to get a little rest so you can get ready for your big Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving tomorrow night. We'll talk about some politics too, but we're going to mix in a lot of Thanksgiving, a lot of history of it, and because we think Americans need to learn more of their history, and we have to reestablish the beautiful things about America, like our great founding fathers and the wonderful things they did. Even though they were limited people of their time, they were beyond the people of, like Thomas Jefferson, for example. Well, so Thomas Jefferson didn't free his slaves, but he was guilty all his life about slavery. And he looked for ways to do it. He just couldn't figure out a way to do it that was practical, including they're not all getting taken up and put into servitude if they went free, because they had no way of protecting themselves. If you read Jefferson, you can see the man struggle with it all his life. And at 27 years old, would have actually gone ahead and put a resolution into Virginia House of Burgesses freeing all slaves. And he was told, if you do that, you will never have a career. So he could have done that, and we never would have had a Declaration of Independence, which probably has led to more people being free than any one single document in the world. It was at the heart of just about every legitimate revolution. So, I mean, let's get real now, huh?
Finally.
And then we have a statue of Mr. Floyd. Last thing. If we're going to be honest about this, everybody's got to back in 2024 my movement to change the name of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is the single biggest institution that supported slavery. If you guys are going to start changing names with some involvement with Washington or whatever, Washington was nothing on slavery compared to the Democrat Party.
Right.
You almost helped create it. You certainly sustained it. You fought a war over it. Hundreds of thousands of Americans got killed over it because of you. Then when it was over, you did segregation, the Ku Klux Klan, right? The Jim Crow laws. You fought the Civil Rights Act. You had a damn Cyclops, whatever the hell he was, in the Senate, and Dopey did a eulogy for him. That's Biden. So you got to get rid of that name. I mean, I got to go look at a scoreboard that says Washington Guardians.
You got to cancel the Democrats. I know that a lot of Chinese voters I've spoken to literally tell me that they vote Democrat because the name Democrat is similar to the Chinese word for democracy. So
Yeah.
they automatically think the Democrat Party is more democratic because of the name. So they should be stripped of their name because they are far from democratic.
Yeah, they also had much heavier infiltration by communism than the Republican Party.
Absolutely, they're the conduit for it.
They're the introduction of communism into the American government going back to the 1920s. And you can't tell me that it wasn't that influence that gave away Eastern Europe. We didn't have to give up Eastern Europe. Poland never had to have years of communist enslavement. The Russian army was nowhere near Poland when Patton got to East Berlin and could have marched into Poland a hero with a fresh army that and Russia had an army that was, at the end, and we had to sit there and wait for them so that we lived up to a promise also made by a demented president at that point, Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt made that promise 6 weeks before he died. He could hardly talk at Yalta. When he ran for president a few months before, he was like Biden. He hardly could make a speech.
Maybe one of these nights, give us a full breakdown. I like
Also sitting with him there, just in case you think I'm making it up, was Alger Hiss, who was a convicted communist 4 years later.
Yeah, I want to get the full.
Sitting there, one of his major advisors was Alger Hiss, a trained communist agent working for the State Department, and one of Roosevelt's favorites.
People don't know their history.
No, they don't want to know their history.
They remember people that were heroes as villains and villains as heroes.
They don't want to know their
They
history.
should watch this show every night, and they will.
Yeah. That is a great note to end on.
Okay. God bless America. Pray for the people of Israel. They really need it. And we'll see you tomorrow night.